Hey everyone, so in this quick demo, we're going to go over now that you've become a CSP, what are some of the main tasks that you need to do. So basically, think of it as an onboarding session. So first thing that you need to do is you've obtained a set of credentials, you've logged in, you've been vetted, approved, you've gotten the confirmation email that you can go in. What now? So first thing that you need to do is navigate to Partner Center to make sure that everything's set up correctly. So type in partnercenter.microsoft.com. You'll get to a page that looks like this. You'll click on sign in and use the credentials that were given to you in the process of onboarding into the government Azure uh, cloud and domain. Your credentials are going to look something like this. Remember, we're not talking about your work or school or administrator credentials for your Microsoft accounts. This is a specific CSP and Gov Cloud account. So it's going to look something as administrator or your name at your company name dot on Microsoft.com. So I'll use these credentials for this demo. I'm going to be presented with, it's going to ask for my password. I'll log in and you'll get to a screen that looks very much like this. Basically an empty dashboard. You might see a few items here on the left, but definitely a very limited view. There's not much you can do. So what happens now, or why is this happening? One thing to keep in mind is make sure that you are in the Microsoft US Government Cloud. So that can be identified by this top right um, denomination here at the top. Now, once you verify this is, well, how can I get to see customers? How do I create Azure resources? So to do that, we need to do the following. So we'll navigate to portal.azure.us, which is our portal for managing Azure, and it looks something like the following. So you'll go to portal.azure.us. You're going to provide your set of credentials. And you're going to log in into the Azure portal. Now, as you can see, I have no resources created or anything because this is the first time you're logging in here. And the one step that you need to do, and this is due to a compliance scenario where we don't necessarily inherit permissions right off the bat, we need to come to the Azure Active Directory, which is located here on the bottom left, and you need to assign your account, that a global administrator account that you created along with your CSP. You need to assign to it the permissions that will allow it to create all customers and so on. The way that you do that is you go into the Azure Active Directory, you go into your users and groups, subsequently all users. By default, you're going to see only one account here, which is the one that's created. I have many because I've used this tenant with a lot of accounts. I will find the account that I wish to modify. You can create as many administrators and folks that are going to help you within your company to manage your customers and help them manage all this creation of resources. And I found my account for Totor. As you can see, it has no group memberships. You need to click on the group memberships and assign it to the group called admin agents. You will click on add. We'll give it a second and the groups will load. There's 3 groups. Each one has different types of resources. For instance, admin agents can do everything. They can create customers, view billing, create resources. Help desk agents can only create and manage tickets as well as see the customer's overview. Sales agents can only see billing functionality from a partner center's perspective. So in this case, I want to be able to accomplish all of the tasks. So select admin agents and click select. You can see that the group has successfully been added to my account. And now what I'll do is I'll take one more step to ensure that this account, I'll go into the profile. You can fill out as many details here as you want, but you can go into the directory role and mark it as global administrator. and click Save. You can, as I said, you can keep on repeating this process as many types as you want and create as many different administrators or limited administrators as you would like. Once this is done, you can close the portal.azure.com. I will get into Partner Center again. And there's two ways. If I click on Dashboard, you see nothing shows up yet. So what I will do is I will sign out and then sign in again. So I'll click on Sign In, select my TotalB account, log in. And now you see that my view has changed dramatically. I can see a lot of resources on the left. I can create customers, service requests, view the billing, if I've incurred or if my company has already any invoices, which you as a first-time user will not have. But if you create a new administrator that comes after the fact, you will be able to see anything that has happened in the past. So we'll do a quick walkthrough of some of the high-level features that will allow you to get started. So if you think of your customer acquisition flow, it is very likely that you will first try to put together a quote or go out to your customers and tell them how much the cloud will cost them. So to do that, you can go into the pricing and offers, and here you'll find two main areas of interest. One, which is the pricing calculator, which we'll talk briefly about, and second is the price list. So let's start with the price list. I'll open it to give you a view of what this is. Price list at a very high level is a CSV file that contains every single SKU that's available on the CSP Government Cloud. So once this loads, you will see there's always a first tab that captures any major changes. Second tab will give you each and every single item that you could resell. If you go into region, you can filter it by the different regions. For example, you can select Arizona or Texas, US Gov, and so on, and you will be able to just limit the views of the services that you may need. Let's, for example, take US Gov Texas. So here you can see on the cache and the Azure Redis cache, this is a service that is built at an hourly rate. And if you scroll all the way to the right, this is basically the cost in US dollars of that particular service. So if you're building a quote, basically having a very high level architecture that you want to put together, you will look here for all the different storage or virtual machines that you need, quote them running at a 24/7 or a different model that you would choose, and ultimately provide your customer with a quote. If you want a more step-by-step approach to this, you could use the pricing calculator. So to get to the pricing calculator, you will click on this link, and this will log you in with your CSP credentials. Now, it's really important that you log in with CSP credentials because that way you can see the right and the accurate pricing for this. The calculator is a estimates tool. It is supposed to give you an idea and support your quotes. It is not meant for you to build quotes out of, but definitely a strong estimate that can support your quote. Usually they will be at a one-to-one match between the prices, but it is warranted that you verify both and that you use both at the same time. Let's say, for example, I select a virtual machine. So think of this as a more of a wizard-like process that you can use to build a quote. You'll select the virtual machine. You can come here and configure it. And before you even do that, I would recommend you always scroll all the way to the bottom. And here there is a licensing program area. You can select direct or EA, and there's also a CSP. Let me open a new window that can help us find the CSP. Given that my credentials are fairly new, the CSP licensing has not showed yet. Once all your permissions have propagated, as I was saying, you will see that the drop-down a cloud solution provider CSP selection. Once you do that selection, this will ensure that all the prices that you're seeing here are reflected on the CSP price. So let's delete these old virtual machines that we had selected. I'll go and select a new one. It will show up here and you can see that the licensing program is CSP and this is a particular price. Now, if I select the US Gov region, the price changes, of course, because the Gov regions have a different type of pricing. Now, again, if you were to select a different price, if I select MOSPI, you see that this has changed. If I add a new virtual machine, the price of the new one is 13 rather than 11. That can tell you how different each one of the services is depending on what licensing you select. MOSPI is our direct purchase. EA, as you know, enterprise agreement, and cloud solution provider is for this particular program. Usually the uplift is between 14 and 15%, which is consistent with the 15% discount that our price list includes. Enough of the calculator though. Let's go back to our Partner Center portal. And this is where all of your customer management is going to happen. So assuming you've gone through the quick flow and captured everything that your customer needs, the first thing you need to do is, and they've accepted your agreement, of course, you'll go to the customers, and if you have some created already, you will see many, but if not, you will begin by creating a new customer. So let's capture some high-level details on this customer here. As you create a customer, they will also be provisioned with a temporary tenant, with a tenant for themselves. This is a subtenant that lives within your government cloud tenant. So make sure that you select a name that is consistent. Let's assume if you're working for a government entity like Department of Justice, you will call it Department of Justice.onmicrosoft.com. Let's give him an address. And then you will select the subscription for them. Currently, we only have the Azure Government CSP subscription, but if in the future, as new products and SKUs become available, you will see them offered here. So lastly, we'll click on Next and Review, and we'll submit the request. You'll see that in usually about 2 minutes, the process will go through and create a customer, a tenant, and an administrator account for them that you can then subsequently either provide to them to use, or you can use yourself to manage on behalf of your customer. So we can see here that it has been created. You see the customer demo administrator account, their password, also all the details that we entered, and their government subscription ID. With this, you're pretty much able to use these credentials to log into their tenant and begin speeding up resources. We will have a subsequent demo in which we will cover how to assign permissions within every single tenant and create additional accounts that can manage that as well.